Good morning, people of the worldiverse, and welcome to a very wet, the northwest of England. Now I say very wet. Yesterday was an absolutely fabulous day, and I think anybody who's in England will have noticed this sudden burst, this monumental burst of blossom on the trees. It's been absolutely fabulous. Spring's coming in all of a sudden with a great rush. Yesterday was absolutely stunning. We went out, the place was packed with people who should be at work but weren't, and I want to know why. And we couldn't park up anywhere, and I was getting fed up, but we had a nice day anyway, and it was gorgeous. And it's mild. It's very, very still today, and it's quite mild. Temperatures are rising. I've looked at the weather forecast for the rest of the week, and it's pretty good, and I'm pretty happy, and I can live with that. Not many people out today because of the wet weather. Somebody's just walked in front of us with a rucksack on the back and a purple waterproof on, looking very dapper. Molly's behind me. She's just had a haircut yesterday, so she looks very sleek and trim. She loves it when she's had a haircut. She's like a pup. She just rolls about and runs about. And it's been agony this morning because she gets very willful, and I couldn't get her to do anything. She's like, I want to go over here. I want to go over here. I don't want to do what you want to do. I want to do this. So it's been driving me bonkers, really. But I've got her out now. We're going to have a nice little walk. Walking past a hawthorn at the moment, and it's full of young leaves just coming out of the buds. And what I like about that is that it's the colour. They're very light, this beautiful light green colour, and it's vibrant and fresh and new. And it's spring because the colours change over summer, but it's that newness, and it's very beautiful. Oh, come on, dry out a little bit and give us all a break. I'm very positive, and we all know spring is definitely here now. It's raining quite hard now here, but I don't mind. I quite like that. I've said this before. There's no such thing as the old adage goes, no such thing as bad weather, just inappropriate clothing. And I quite like it, especially when it's mild, because I always say, well, when you get home, you can always just change your bloody clothes, can't you? Put the kettle on and everything's good. But it's just wet and muddy. But it will come, and I think it will come all of a sudden. We've got this real spell of wet weather, and I have a feeling that it's going to break all of a sudden, and we're going to come into some decent weather, and the sun's going to come out, everybody's hearts will be lifted, we'll all be out in the countryside, the flowers are out, the camellias are already out. Have you noticed that? You walk past people's gardens, rhododendrons are out, camellias out, all the daffodils and everything are out, things are out, insects are starting to come out and show themselves. Quite sluggish, but they're there, which is a great precursor of the better weather to come, and I'm very happy about that. I was thinking the other day, I used to be a landscape gardener for many years, and I put lots and lots of ponds in gardens, and I was thinking about this the other day, and I thought I might just tag a couple of videos onto the description off YouTube of people who make ponds, wildlife ponds. Now, they're so easy. I've made them out of washing up bowls. It's taken me like a morning to make one. As long as you get everything ready, get a few plants, get your ideas going, and you can have one done in the morning, and they're great things. Obviously, if they're bigger, you have to protect them. If you've got small children, mesh over the top or something like that, or keep an eye on your kids, small pets. But they're fantastic because you get all sorts of things in them. Damselflies, dragonflies, newts. You might even get sticklebacks. All sorts of waterway things going on the water, water boatmen and things like that. And the great frog spawn and frogs. And they're great, and think about that. And I'll tag a couple of videos about how to make a garden pond. doesn't need much space. Really, you don't want a big one, you want a small. If you're making one as like a natural amphibian environment, you don't want a big one. You can have one as long as it's like about, yeah, big, about 1 metre by half a metre. That's all you need. It won't take long. You can tuck it away in a corner. It's fascinating. You can go visit every day and get some plants in. It's beautiful to look at and it doesn't take long. And I encourage everybody to do it, all those who can, because the main reason is we're losing all the habitat. All the habitat for these creatures is going at a rate of knots. People are building houses more and more all the time, and we keep going on about there being a housing shortage, which means that they ain't going to stop building houses anytime soon, which is just losing habitat at a rate of knots. And it's a shame, because when the habitat goes, so do the creatures that rely on that habitat. And we all know that, and I think we turn a blind eye to it. We think about it, don't we? There's a lot of things in life we do this with, where we think about it, get a little bit worried about it, get a little bit concerned about it. Oh, that's a shame, I'll have to do something about that, and then forget about it. The thing is, it doesn't stop, because the people who are destroying the habitat don't stop. Once you've thought about it, ignored it, and gone away down your road, the bulldozers are still going in, ripping out the bloody streams and the ponds and the fields and the shrubs and the trees and the hedgerows for building. When you build a housing estate, another thing, you realise that underneath the ground there are water courses, right? Natural water courses. When they build houses and they dig for the foot and they put a wall in, they block that water course off. That water course is then diverted. That might go several miles to a floodplain. Flood that out. Flood a few more houses. Not really bothered about that, but it will also flood habitat. So there are like all these knock-on effects. So we need to replace it. We can't just talk about it. We need to replace it, and everybody can replace it in their own little way by building a little garden pond. Even if you've only got a patio, you can get, like I say, even a little washing up bowl. Make 2 levels, get some little stones, bricks, put them round inside so you get like a step. And on that step you can put plants. So things can get in and out, things can grow, things can benefit off the plants that are growing, and you can still get your frog spawn and everything in it, and your kids will love it. And I'll tell you what, they'll learn a damn sight more than sitting on the PS5 or whatever it's called in front of the bloody television, or sitting watching YouTube. Anyway, my remit isn't to come out here and lecture people about what they should and shouldn't do. My remit is to come out and encourage people to enjoy the countryside in England, Scotland, Wales, Europe, America, Asia, wherever you are in the world. Get out and enjoy it. The chances are everybody out there in the worldiverse is enjoying better weather than we are. But it is beautiful. I'm looking now across through this woodland and I can see a complete bank of daffodils, and that very pale yellow, like a lemon colour. They look very beautiful. Go and have a look when we get a bit closer and I'll try and show you. Bluebells will be out soon. Oh, I love it. I mean, one thing about the British countryside, I don't think there's anywhere else in the world where you get bluebell woods quite like it. A lot of places you get beautiful bluebell woods. They have their own character. Ours have their own character. Ours are kind of they're a very soft landscape. It's very gentle and pleasing. There you go. Just in the middle of nowhere. Just being beautiful for no other reason. All the trees are covered in moss. Gives it kind of an Tolkien-esque type feel. There's some beautiful woodland at the side of us here. It's usually teeming with birdsong, and the woodpeckers usually pecking away. But because of the weather, I think it's keeping everybody indoors. I think all the birds are indoors watching daytime television and Good Morning Britain and loose women and things like that. But it's quiet. It is very, very quiet. Not a bird song. Thing is, this is like something we don't think about, isn't it? We kind of, you go out and the bird song is like just a background noise or a background tune, sound. So it's there, you're aware of it, but you don't really notice it when it stops. You come out today and there's nothing. It's very, very quiet. And I think that's one of the things where, when you go out in the countryside, these are the things you've got to notice. These are the things you've got to be aware of to get the best out of the countryside. If you just treat it as a visual thing, but it's not. It's an audible thing. It's a sensory thing. It's the smells and the sounds and the feelings under your feet and the feelings of the textures of the grass and the leaves, the feel of the rain on your skin. We've got to make the most of all this because we know here along, here's a runner. Run, 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 run. Molly, keep out the way. Yeah, we've got to kind of make the most of this because you only get one crack at this. The end of this lot, you know, you can't go up there or down there, depending, and say, I wasn't very pleased about that, can I have another go? Because the answer is always no. So make the most of the one you've got because you don't know how long you've got it. If you're lucky, you might live 100 years. If you're not, you won't. But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. As long as you enjoy the time you've got. And I think I have. I think I've tried to appreciate the time I've got here, what experiences I've had, bad ones, don't get too wound up about it, put it down to experience and carry on. And that's what it's all about. A bird at last. It's still raining like mad, but at least somebody's braving it. He's probably got his sou'wester on and his raincoat and his wellies, and he's up in the treetops singing his little heart out. Isn't the world a beautiful place? I think we're going to head back now to the car. We've got about half an hour's walk. I will put some links up to building animal friendly, insect friendly water features. But don't just think about water features, because any kind of environment, even if it's just an area of the corner of the garden that you leave fallow for anything to grow in it, plant a few wildflowers perhaps, and then go down and just check what's in there, and you will find that there's a lot more there than a sterile garden. There's nothing worse than a sterile garden. Everybody thinks you plant the garden up and they have a nice lawn mown and a few flower beds, and there's nothing really there for creatures. Just think about what you grow. You'll thank me for it. And there you go. I'm drenched, it's pouring down. Absolutely pouring down. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I will see you anon. Peace and love.